In this segment, we're going to take a look at a workstation. This particular one that I have in front of me is just a standard workstation, nothing really special about it. It is a bit of an older machine. As you can see from the front, it does have both a floppy drive as well as a CD drive. If we look at the back of it, though, there are a couple things to draw your attention to. The first is that we have the ability to lock the cover and keep somebody from taking it apart, as well as put a key, what's called a Kensington lock here, to keep somebody from stealing the machine altogether. Then if we look at the connectors that are here, the first one we have is the purple, which is for the keyboard. The keyboard connector is about the same as the mouse connector, but the keyboard connector will always be the furthest outside. If they are stacked one on top of each other, it will always be the one on top. Beneath that, we have the USB connectors, as well as the connector for the network, this being a 10 base T, an older one. And then we have the serial ports, parallel ports, and the port for the monitor. Notice we have the slots down here for putting cards in. If you ever put a card in and then take it back out, put the slot back. The slot needs to be there, the slot cover needs to be there to keep the air circulation proper and not overheat the machine. Let's take this machine apart, see what we have. Take the cover off to begin with. And if we look inside this machine, it's very dusty, hasn't been used for a while. It's pulled a lot of dust in. One of the things about a PC is that it will actually pull the air in, and so it's pulling in all of the dust that you see here. And we've got quite a bit. We'll use some compressed air as necessary to clean it out. We'll just begin disassembling this as we go. First thing we have is we have the power supply, and so we have the Molex connectors. Everything that the power supply is connected to uses the Molex connectors, various sizes. We'll disconnect all of those, get those out of the way. Looks like an octopus. Some of them are going to come apart a little bit easier than what others do. Now that gets our power supply out of the way. Okay. Inside, there are a number of things to notice in addition to the dust. We'll spray some of that out of the way. We're using compressed air. If you do not have a can of compressed air, you can always use an air compressor. Keep the pressure down low, 22 pounds or less. A couple of things to draw your attention to. We'll just use this to do so. First is we have the memory card. Then we have the fan for the processor. The processor is beneath here. Between the two, we have what's called a heat sink. We'll pull that apart in a second. We're going to go ahead and notice that everything is connected using ribbon cables inside here. The ribbon cables always have a stripe on them. The stripe indicates pin 1. We'll pull the ribbon cables and get these out of the way. The ribbon cables are connecting all the peripheral devices, the hard drive, the floppy drive, CD drive, and such. Okay. We have a battery here. Looks very much like a watch battery. In fact, it is. The watch battery is used to keep the system date and time, so that's its purpose. Here are our memory slots. We have only one memory card in at the moment. There's our memory card. All right, this machine doesn't have a lot of the parts on it you may normally see, some of the cards, things like that. So we're going to take a look at another chassis that has a few more things. Notice that the CPU we pulled, by the way, was a Pentium 3, so an older processor. The next machine we look at is going to be a little bit older as well. This one has This machine has another type of processor. This is a Pentium 2. The thing about the Pentium 2 is it has the heatsink built directly onto it. So as we pull this out of here, you'll see we have the CPU and the heatsink built together. So here's the processor for Pentium 2. Here's the Pentium 3 processor. And then if we look at a Pentium 4 has actually just become much smaller. That's the Pentium 4 that we have there. On this machine, many of the similar parts as what we saw before. We've got the memory card that is here. We also have expansion cards, which we did not have on the other one. We have an expansion card for the monitor, AGP card. We have the networking, the modem card, and we have the networking card. Notice on the networking card we have two different connectors for this. We have the B and C connector for a 10 base 2 network, and then we have the Ethernet connector, the 8-wire, for a 10 base T or 100 base T network as well. Okay, same thing as what we saw before. Everything's connected between the power supply with the Molex adapters. Everything is connected between the devices using the ribbon cable. Again, we have a stripe, usually a purple stripe, that's there, which indicates pin 1 on the ribbon cables. Same watch battery as what we had before, same devices as were there before. And that's the inside of the PC.